Welcome back to YGT.
Y'all got this.
We want to thank you guys for coming back and joining us. We have a great topic for you guys. Stay tuned.
We're going to be talking about identity within the marriage. We're going to go into that in just a little bit, but first we want to let you know that we are taking questions. Go ahead and inbox us or message us at winningmarriages@yahoo.com. And to our seasoned couples who may have some ideas or something they want to share on those topics, you are welcome to do that as well.
Share the knowledge.
Share the knowledge. All right, as we go into identity within the marriage, I'm going to start off with a definition of identity.
Drop the knowledge, baby.
This is Webster's definition of identity: the distinguishing character or personality of an individual. So what that means is, to me, I see that as your characteristics that identify you in your uniqueness. Maybe things that you enjoy doing or enjoyed doing before you got married. How do you maintain that and not lose that during your marriage? That is what we're going to be discussing. Do you feel that identity within the marriage is necessary? Important.
It's important. It's very necessary. Husband and wife should have their own identity. I think oftentimes when you say I do, the woman gets the last name, and the wife goes and now she's being the wife and the mom, and then the husband is going off being the father and the husband, and before you know it, 10 years has passed, and you're kind of looking at each other and saying, where did the time go? Who am I?
Yeah, you become a mom and you become a wife, but before you were a mom or a wife, you were an individual. You had your own identity. You had dreams and goals and
yes.
Ideas that was a part of your makeup, a part of your signature for yourself. And so you don't want to lose that when you get married. Let's talk about us. Did you feel like you lost your identity when you got married?
In the beginning, I'll say no, because I looked at it as it was an honor for me to not only be married to you, but for me to work and provide. That was a big deal for me. I can honestly say maybe 2 or 3 years into it, working and those first few years of marriage, it was very difficult. But honestly, to say I lost myself, I can't say I did, because I just felt that was my duty. That's what I was supposed to do. In retrospect, I would say maybe several years down the road, I find myself asking, who am I? Because I was at a place, at a crossroad in my life, because I didn't know what was my place. What am I here to do? I'm a father now. I'm a father to two daughters. I'm working constantly. I'm trying to take some college courses, and now I don't really know what I want to do. So you're trying to figure out, how did this happen? When did this happen?
So it seems like, from what I'm hearing, that when you are start doing life and trying to provide as a man, sometimes you get caught up in that part of it, till you kind of lose who you are. In the sense of, okay.
For me, it did.
Okay.
For me,
okay.
Yes. Did you feel like sometime in the marriage, or if you can explain, when exactly did you feel that you were losing your identity, or it was lost, or you felt it slipping away from you?
Well, when we first got married, I really didn't feel like I had lost my identity. I think I really don't ever feel like I lost it. I do feel like it was harder to maintain once we had children. Like when it was just you and me, you know, I still had things that I enjoyed doing that was a part of my makeup, like writing, journaling. I still was able to do that. I still had time to do that. But, you know, and it was something that I enjoyed doing. But when we start having children and time started, they began to consume a lot of our time in a good way, but it also made it harder to carve out time for yourself to do the things that identify are things that help build up your makeup or your characteristics, things that you enjoy doing as an individual. And that's what happened with me. Like, I didn't journal as much. I wasn't writing as much, and it does carve into your time when you're being mommy and you're working and you're being a wife.
Makes sense.
And sometimes you can get lost in all that. You
Angela's, that's Cobra's wife.
Right. So it's like, what about me just being me, who I am? I didn't completely lose it, but I found it hard to maintain, you know?
Okay, well, baby, let me ask you a question. What are some of the things you did to maintain your identity during our marriage?
It was very important to me to have my time, my me time.
Okay.
And during those times, I made sure I did the things that I wanted to do, things that made me feel good, things that helped me build me up. It's important to have that time. Carving out what I call like wifey time out, but really it's just time out. And during that time, it's me time, and it helps me build up me, and I can enjoy and do the things that I need to do.
Because in the beginning, I didn't really get that. I understand the whole me time, wifey time. Like, we're married. This is what we do. You know, we go out, we hang out. So what's the problem? But as the time goes by, you grow into your marriage through communicating, and you realize it's not about me. It's not all about me. You know, this is my wife. She's an individual. Before Cobra was in a relationship with her, she was an individual. She did things that she loved to do. And some things got put on pause when she got married. But I wasn't in a place of maturity where I can understand that as a husband and as a man.
What about you? Did you need me time? Guys need me time?
We do.
What?
We may not communicate it the way we need to communicate it, but I always like to say, for me, I needed the gym. That was me. I was a gym rat. I was in the gym all the time before I met you. I never played any collegiate sports, anything like that, but just, you know, just going to the gym. I was always into that. I was a fan of bodybuilding. So it was just something that was good for me. It was good for my health. And when we met each other, it seemed like everything happened so fast. And before you know it, you know, over the next 3 or 4 years, I gained about 25 pounds, and I was overweight. And
That's not my fault.
no, that's not. Well, a little bit, because the way you was cooking, and you used to tell me how much you love to see me eat. So you was kind of setting the brother up, you know.
So I was blocking your me time?
No, you wasn't blocking my me time. But again, I really didn't even know how to communicate that. I just felt I was doing what I was supposed to do, and I think it was a trial and error with us, where we realized, like, hey, wait a minute, I need some time. And we was able to sit down and communicate it and really respect each other's time, respect each other's individuality. That's when the door opened up for us to start creating space for ourselves. That's very important.
Yeah. And we have to support our spouse in that.
That's right.
One way that we support each other is giving each other that time. You know, there's been times when I would call you or text you and just let you know I'm going to take a drive, or after work, I'm going to make a couple of stops. Or whatever it is that I needed to do to have that quiet time.
Just for you.
Before I got home. And he honored that, he respected that, and we do it for each other. I need to be the designated pickup person for the kids while he has some extra time, after work or whatever. That's what we made happen for
Absolutely.
each other. I think
It's important.
the important part was knowing that he needed that, and he knows that I need that. So communicating with each other, that you need to have that time is very important. And it's not an area where you feel like your spouse is trying to get away from you. Hopefully,
Maybe sometimes.
that's not the case. But you might more or less looking at it at a time where you're having your time to build up on the things that you need to do for yourself, things that represent you as an individual.
Right.
And it's okay to have that and still be married. And that's what we wanted to share out.
And one thing you want to do is very important is just communicate. Yeah. Communicate when you need that me time, that private time. And you also need to take into account, what if trust was broken, a year or two ago, and you really need some me time? You're not trying to get away and do something inappropriate or whatever, but you want to communicate to make sure that spouse feels comfortable what you're doing and what you're getting ready to do just for that hour. Also, make sure you always have a time limit. Don't just say, hey baby, I want to be home when I can be home, or I just need some private time.
Yeah, that's
You
not
gotta
gonna
be very specific. The same thing goes for the wife. It's not just the husband, is both. You're one, but at the same time, you're still an individual. If you're dealing with a biblical standpoint, yes, you are one. But at the end of the day, when you take a step back, you are individual, and you can't forget about your individuality when it comes to giving yourself the private time that you need.
Right. And so you're saying when there's a trust, if there's a trust issue in the marriage, and a spouse wants to have like their quiet time or their moment, both should come to an agreement on that. And then, for the spouse that needs to have like that
The extra comfort.
Right, an extra reassurance, give it to them.
Yeah. Turn the GPS on, send your location.
Whatever.
Some of you may think, oh, that's a little extreme. Well, you know what? To each his own.
Right.
Maybe that wife or husband need that. And if you can agree to that, then do it. It's not a problem. It's your marriage, not our marriage. It's your marriage. Whatever works.
Right. And at the end of the day, you're building up trust.
Absolutely.
At the same time, you're also trying to have your quiet time, or your time where you can play basketball if you want to go, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do to for your outlet, or for things that you enjoy doing as an individual. We're not trying to say we don't want you to lose that. Don't take that away. But if you're in an area in your a season in your marriage, or a time in your marriage where you are building trust, and you want to do that, you want to make sure that you're communicating very closely with your spouse, and you're both in agreement to that.
And I will say, baby, if you are a new couple or a veteran couple, and you've never been in a situation where you needed me time, you guys have no problem being on each other all the time, that's great. Kudos to you. But if there's a time where you need it, then hey, it's important to follow some of the steps that we discussed earlier.
That was a great topic on identity within the marriage. Our prayer is that God will continue to strengthen you and protect your marriage, and that you don't lose yourself as you are continuing to build your marriage and becoming one. Have fun, enjoy each other, enjoy the things that you like to do together, and the things that you like to do as an individual. Y'all be blessed.
We'll see you next time at YGT.